The girl in a wheelchair asked him, "Would you marry a paralytic?" When the single dad said yes, she stood up, revealing everything. Tell us your city below, then enjoy the story and subscribe for more. Trust me, the ending will leave you speechless. Ryan Mitchell's hands gripped the wheel at 11:43 p.m., back aching after 14 hours on I-80. His 8-year-old daughter Emma was asleep at Mrs. Chen's, curled with the stuffed rabbit her mother gave her 4 years ago, when Sarah was alive. The photo taped to his dashboard showed Sarah's smile. "A good heart is worth more than gold," she'd said the night before the cancer took her. Marcus called. "You backing out tomorrow? I've got a 5 a.m. pickup, then you'll be back by 6 p.m. for the blind date. 2 years is long enough, man." At the truck stop, Ryan bought $50 of coffee and food, all he could spare after rent and Mrs. Chen's fee. Emma's text arrived. "Daddy, I drew you at school, Mrs. Chen says you look like a superhero. Love you, infinity, superhero." If she knew he lived on $6 tips, worked 23 days straight for her shoes, slept in the truck to save motel costs. Fine. 1 date. Next evening, Ryan stood outside Rosie's diner in his best jeans, the ones without oil stains. He looked older than 35, calloused hands and tired eyes. She was in a wheelchair. Simple clothes, faded sweater, no makeup, but her eyes held something. Fear, testing. "Ryan," soft voice. "That's me." He smiled, sat across from her. 20 minutes of small talk. Her name was Vicky, office worker, wheelchair 3 years after an accident. He told her about Emma, his truck routes, saving for his daughter's education. "Can I ask something?" Her hands trembled. "Would you marry a paralyzed woman? Wake up every day and take care of someone who might never walk?" Ryan didn't hesitate. "If I loved her? Yeah." He leaned forward. "My wife died 4 years ago. Cancer. Last 6 months I carried her everywhere, fed her, held her when chemo made her sick." His eyes glistened. "Love isn't about what someone can do. It's who they are when everything else is stripped away." She cried, then stood up. Ryan's mind went blank. "It was a test," she whispered. "I'm sorry." 3 customers stared. The waitress froze. "My name is Victoria Hayes." She pulled out a business card. "Hayes Tech Solutions, CEO, $40 million in the bank. Every man I dated only saw that, so I tested them." Her voice cracked. "To see if good men still existed." Ryan stared at the card. He'd driven past that glass tower in San Francisco. "You lied." "Yes. About everything." "The question was real. I needed to know if men like you existed. In my world, they don't." Ryan grabbed his jacket. "You tested my character but never questioned your own. Being rich gives you the right to manipulate people? I told you about my wife dying and it was just your experiment." He headed for the door. "Good luck, Miss Hayes. Hope your $40 million keeps you warm." Outside in his F-150, hands shaking, he looked at the card. Something about her tears had been real. Emma's text. "Did you have fun, Daddy? Is she nice? Can I meet her?" He told Emma about the date. First woman since Sarah. Emma had drawn pictures, asked 17 questions about getting a new mom. Through the window, Victoria stood crying while the waitress patted her shoulder. "Everyone wants something," she'd said. Sarah's voice. "A good heart is worth more than gold." What if Victoria had a good heart buried under wealth and fear? For 3 minutes, Ryan watched rain fall, trying to decide if going back was a mistake or the chance Sarah had sent him. Emma's text. "I love you, Daddy. You're the best in the whole world." Damn it, Sarah. He stepped back into the rain. The door chimed. Victoria looked up, mascara running. "One condition," Ryan said. "No more tests. No more lies. We do this real or not at all." She nodded. "And you meet Emma. She's part of the deal." "I'd love to meet her," Victoria whispered. Ryan sat down. "So, Victoria Hayes, Tell me something true." In that diner, with rain drumming and coffee smell in the air, something shifted. Something neither expected, but both desperately needed. The test was over, the real story beginning. 3 days on the road gave Ryan too much thinking time. Victoria had told him about her grandfather Thomas Hayes, construction worker, 40 years of backbreaking labor, raised her after her parents died when she was 7, about turning his small company into a tech empire, about men with spreadsheets of her assets. Ryan shared about Sarah's diagnosis, selling their house for treatments that failed, the final 6 months carrying his wife at 3 a.m. She said, "When you find her, don't let her wait too long to live." Ryan stared at cold coffee. I didn't understand. At 2:37 a.m., on empty Wyoming highway, he thought maybe he did. Sarah gone at 31, never traveled, never saw an ocean, always saving for someday that never came. Victoria called. "Just wanted to hear your voice." They talked 40 minutes. She told him about board meetings and acquisitions. He told her about truck stop waitresses who remembered kindness. Can I take you and Emma to dinner tomorrow?" Ryan's hands tightened. A CEO worth $40 million wanted to meet his daughter who lived where sirens were lullabies. Emma would love that. Next day, 6:15 p.m., Mrs. Chen opened her door before he knocked. "Your daughter asked me 46 times when you'd be home." She told everyone about Victoria, the mailman, the pigeons in the park. "Daddy!" Emma flew out, dark hair flying, wearing her Target dress from 3 months ago. "Is she here? Is she pretty? Can she meet Mr. Fluffington?" Ryan crouched down. "Remember what we talked about? Be polite. Don't ask about money." Victoria arrived at 7:03 p.m. in a Mercedes worth more than Ryan made in 3 years. Jeans and white silk blouse, probably $400 and $300. Cartier watch catching streetlight, but she knelt down. "Hi, Emma. I'm Victoria. Your dad says you want to be an astronaut." Emma shook her hand formally, clutching Mr. Fluffington. "I want to go to Mars. I was terrible at math at your age. Had to work twice as hard, but I kept trying." "Really? You're so grown up and pretty and have a fancy car?" "Emma," Ryan warned. "It's okay." Victoria smiled fully. "Should we get dinner?" "I heard Tony's makes the best pepperoni." Emma gasped. "But Daddy says it's too expensive." Ryan winced. "Tony's cost 28, half a day's wages. Tonight's special, I'm meeting you." At Tony's, Emma chatted about school, toilet paper satin rings, her friend Mia. Victoria listened like Emma was the most interesting person alive. "Do you have a daddy?" Emma asked. Victoria's smile faltered. "He died when I was little, but my grandfather raised me. Like my daddy. He's the best even when he's tired and can't come to school stuff 'cause of work." Ryan's throat closed. Emma had never said that before. "I bet he'd do anything for you," Victoria said, looking at Ryan. "He drove 23 days straight to buy me shoes and sleeps in his truck so we can go to the science museum." Victoria's expression shifted. "Mrs. Chen told me. She said Daddy is a hero." After dinner, after Victoria paid, after Emma got a to-go box for Mr. Fluffington, they walked to the park. Emma ran to swings while Ryan and Victoria sat on a graffiti-covered bench. "She's amazing. She's my world." "Ryan, I need to tell you why I did the wheelchair test." Victoria's voice dropped. 3 years ago, I was engaged. David. 8 months together, perfect. 2 weeks before the wedding, I found him photographing financial documents, forwarding client lists. Jesus. He admitted he'd targeted me from the beginning. Hayes Tech vulnerable to hostile takeover with the right information. Every kiss, every I love you, a setup. Emma's laughter carried across the park. "After that, I couldn't trust anyone, so I tested them. You were the first who passed, first who didn't hesitate. And you have a daughter and drive trucks and live where sirens wail, and you still—" She stopped. "You have more joy than anyone I know." "Joy? I'm one paycheck from not making rent. Work 60-hour weeks. My truck's held together with duct tape. And Emma thinks you hung the moon. You smile at toilet paper planets. You didn't care about the wheelchair because character matters more. Victoria faced him. You have something I don't. You have enough. Daddy! Victoria, push me! They walked over. Ryan pushed while Victoria watched, and something fundamental shifted. Recognition. Two people alone for different reasons, finding each other impossibly. Higher! I want to touch stars. Not quite that high, baby girl. Victoria looked at him with an expression that made his chest tight. What? Just glad I took a chance. Glad you came back. I'm not afraid of you. I know. That's what makes you dangerous. Emma jumped off mid-swing, landing with a whoop. Did you see? Victoria turned to Ryan quietly. Can I see you again? Just us? What did you have in mind? Something real. Where I know the man who makes $31,000 and doesn't need anything except honesty. Ryan looked at her. CEO worth $40 million and woman who tested him. Woman who knelt for his daughter. Yeah, I'd like that. Saturday, your place. Takeout. Movie with Emma. Something normal. Saturday. Mercedes disappeared. Emma clutched Mr. Fluffington, grinning. I like her, Daddy. She's pretty but also nice. Me too, sweetie. Is she going to be my new mommy? Ryan knelt on warm concrete. Whoa, we just met her. But you like her. You smile different. Different how? Like Mommy's picture. Sad, but not sad. He pulled Emma into a hug. Mommy's always special, always. I know, but Mommy's gone. Victoria's here, and she makes you smile the not sad smile, so maybe it's okay to be happy again. Later, Emma asleep, Ryan texted, Emma said you're nice, but also pretty. Not sure which is the higher compliment. 30 seconds. Tell her I hope it's nice. Pretty fades. Nice stays. Saturday, 6 p.m. Warning, my apartment's small, TV's old, couch has a spring that'll stab you. Can't wait. Warning back, I'm terrible at normal. Might mess up. We'll mess up together. Ryan looked around. 2 bedrooms, his closet-sized Emma's yellow sunshine room. Mismatched kitchen, garage sale furniture, Emma's drawings everywhere. This was his offer. Late nights, early mornings, daughter who came first. Love already spent once with maybe not enough left. But maybe Victoria was right. Maybe he had enough. Enough to be present, honest, to risk his heart once more. Okay, Sarah, he whispered to the fridge photo. I'm going to try. He could almost hear her. A good heart is worth more than gold. Stop overthinking and just live. Saturday arrived with aggressive Nevada rain. Ryan up since 4:45 a.m., cleaning an already clean apartment, hiding bills, making Emma's room look less desperately poor. Daddy, you're being weird, Emma observed, drawing. 17 pictures this week, 3 stick figures, Daddy, me, Victoria. I'm not weird. You cleaned the bathroom twice, hid the red envelope. Ryan froze, overdue electricity bill crumpled in hand. How do you know? I can read. Final notice. Something bad. He sat, exhausted. Need to pay Monday, I will, don't worry. Is that why you ate peanut butter last night instead of real food? Emma, Mrs. Chen says you give me good stuff and eat cheap stuff. True? How to explain he was one flat tire from catastrophe. $100 to $200 had to cover rent, electricity, Mrs. Chen, groceries for 2 weeks. Peanut butter, so Emma got chicken nuggets. I like peanut butter. Liar. Emma smiled. When I'm an astronaut, I'll buy you all the chicken nuggets. Doorbell at 6:03 p.m. She's here! Victoria stood holding pizza boxes, garlic bread smell, Stanford sweatshirt, jeans, ponytail, diamond studs only. Nothing like a $40 million CEO. Hi. Wasn't sure what pizza, so I got pepperoni and cheese and... She saw Emma's drawings. Are those for me? I drew our family. That's you and Daddy and me and Mr. Fluffington. Emma, Ryan interrupted, maybe moving fast with family thing. But Victoria stared at the drawings. Can I keep one for my office? Really? Emma's face lit. Which one? This one. 3 of them holding hands under yellow sun. It's perfect. They ate on the couch, Ryan in the broken spring spot. Emma narrated Moana. Victoria asked questions, laughed, never checked her phone. Are you rich? Emma asked suddenly. Emma, it's okay. Victoria paused the movie. Yes. Does that bother you? Emma considered. No, but it bothers Daddy. Emma, it does. He gets weird when you pay. Hid the red envelope. Mrs. Chen said, enough, Ryan cut in. Go get ready for bed. Brush teeth, pajamas. But now, Emma. She trudged off. Ryan turned to Victoria. I'm sorry. What's the red envelope? Nothing. Ryan, electricity bill. Past due. Handling it Monday. Silence. How much? Don't. How much? 287. Before you offer, I'm not offering. Victoria's voice firm. Respecting honesty. Won't insult you by fixing it, but tell me truth. How bad is it? Ryan wanted to lie, but they'd promised honesty. Work 60 hours, barely cover rent and food. Haven't bought clothes in 2 years. Truck 1 breakdown from losing my job. Emma needs $50 winter boots I don't have. I eat peanut butter so she gets real food. His voice cracked. Sleep in the truck 3 nights weekly because $75 motel room could go to her college fund. Victoria's eyes filled. So yeah, it's bad, real bad. Before you say you could help, this is my pride, being the dad Emma deserves even when it crushes me. Keeping my promise to Sarah, so I don't want pity or charity. Silence. TV paused on Moana mid-song. Okay, Victoria said. Okay? No pity, no charity, just me understanding you're the strongest person I've met, and I'm terrified I'll screw this up because I don't know how to be with someone who doesn't want anything except honesty. I want more than honesty. What? He looked at her, woman who tested him, knelt for his daughter, sitting on broken couch eating $10 pizza, looking at him like he was precious. I want you to stay. Keep coming back when it's complicated and messy. I want to know if this is real. It's real, Victoria whispered. So real it terrifies me. Emma peeked out. You guys fighting? No, baby. Come finish the movie. Emma settled between them. Halfway through, her head drooped onto Victoria's shoulder. Victoria froze like she held something infinitely fragile. She's asleep, Ryan whispered. Should I move? No. Stay. Victoria sat still while Emma slept, while Moana saved her island, while Ryan watched them and felt dangerous hope bloom, the kind that destroys you if it fails. Movie ended. Ryan lifted Emma to bed, tucked her in, kissed her forehead. Love you, Daddy. Love you more, baby girl. Living room. Victoria at the window watching rain. I need to tell you about my grandfather. Ryan waited. Thomas Hayes, immigrated from Ireland at 19 with $47, worked construction 40 years, bricks, concrete, breaking his back for $12 an hour, took custody of me at 63 when my parents died. Everyone said too old, her voice thick. He'd say, Victoria, money is what weak people worship because they have nothing else. Lived in 1 bedroom until he died, never bought new car. Same 3 work shirts, 20 years. Sounds good. Best man. Victoria turned, tears streaming. When he died, I found he'd saved every penny. Left me $143,000. That started Hayes Tech, foundation of everything. She wiped her eyes. But money, company, success, none matters. I lost the one person who loved me for who I was, not what I had. Been looking ever since. Looking for someone like him. Ryan crossed, took her hands. I'm not your grandfather. I know. Can't promise this works. Can't promise my life won't always be complicated. She kissed him. Soft, desperate, tasting of tears and pizza and terrifying second chances. When they broke apart, Victoria shook. I'm falling for you. Scares me because I don't know how to do this. Don't know how to be with someone who doesn't want my money. How to just be Victoria, not Victoria Hayes, CEO. Then let me teach you. Show you what it's like to be enough as you are. Tiny living room, mismatched furniture, Emma's drawings. Rain against windows needing replacing. Something fundamental shifted. Victoria's phone buzzed. Again. "Check that," Ryan said. "Just work. Can wait." "Victoria," she checked. Expression changed. "I have to go." "What's wrong?" "Client situation. Need to handle it." Ryan felt distance crack open. "Go, I understand." "No, you don't." Victoria grabbed her coat. "You think I'm choosing work over you? Not that simple. This client, I lose them. 47 people lose jobs. Single mother with 3 kids. Man just out of cancer treatment." Voice broke. "Can't ignore it because it's inconvenient." "Didn't ask you to, but you're pulling away. I see it. Think I'm like everyone else. Work matters more than this." "Doesn't it?" Hung like a guillotine. "I don't know," Victoria said honestly. "Spent 10 years building this. Sacrificed everything. Relationships, friendships, sleep, health. Maybe I don't know how to do both. Be the woman you need and CEO 47 people depend on." Ryan stepped closer. "Then we figure it out together. Handle your emergency. I'll be here. That's what this is. Showing up when it's hard." Victoria kissed him quick and fierce. "I'll call you. I'll answer." She left. Perfume and rain and expensive heels on cheap linoleum. Mercedes pulled away, taillights disappearing. Emma's door cracked. "Is she coming back, Daddy?" Ryan closed his eyes. "I hope so, baby." But as he cleaned up pizza boxes and folded the blanket Victoria had used and tried not to think about how her perfume still lingered in the air, doubt crept in. Not about Victoria's feelings, he believed those were real, but about whether real feelings were enough when 2 people lived in completely different worlds. His phone buzzed. "Victoria, I'm sorry, I hate this. I hate leaving, but I promise I'm coming back." "Ryan, I know. Handle your emergency. We'll be here." He didn't add what he was thinking, that maybe this was the real test. Not whether he'd love a woman in a wheelchair, but whether she could love a man whose life would always be small and complicated and nothing like hers. Whether $40 million and $287 in overdraft fees could ever meet in the middle. Whether enough was actually enough when one person had everything and the other had nothing but love to give. Outside, thunder rolled. Emma called for water, and Ryan pushed away his doubts and went to take care of his daughter, because that was what he did. That was who he was. And if Victoria couldn't accept that Emma would always come first, that his life would always be lived paycheck to paycheck, that there would always be red envelopes and peanut butter dinners, and moments when she'd have to choose between him and her empire, then maybe they were already doomed. But God, he hoped they weren't. Because for the first time in 4 years, he'd felt something other than exhaustion and responsibility. He'd felt alive, and Sarah's voice echoed, "Don't let her be someone who waits too long to live." Maybe the real question was, would Victoria let him live too? Ryan fell asleep that night with his phone on the pillow beside him, waiting for her call, hoping she'd prove him wrong, hoping they'd find a way to bridge the impossible gap between their worlds. The phone didn't ring until 2:47 a.m. "Ryan?" Victoria's voice was wrecked. "Are you awake?" "Now I am. What's wrong?" "I saved the client, saved the 47 jobs, but She was crying. "I had to fire someone, a friend, someone who's been with me from the beginning, and I can't stop thinking, what if that's us someday? What if I have to choose between you and everything I've built? What if I choose wrong?" Ryan sat up in bed, rain still falling outside. "Victoria, listen to me. You can't live your life afraid of what-ifs. I tried that after Sarah died. I tried to protect myself from ever feeling that pain again. But you know what happened? I stopped living. I just survived. And my daughter, my amazing, smart, beautiful daughter, she's the one who reminded me that surviving isn't enough. What if I hurt you? Hey, what if you don't?" Silence. Then, "I want to see you tomorrow. I have a delivery run. I'll be gone until Wednesday." Then Wednesday, 6 p.m., your place. Victoria, please, Ryan, I need to show you something. I need you to understand that I'm trying, that this matters to me, that you and Emma matter more than... She stopped. Just trust me. Wednesday. Ryan closed his eyes, Sarah's face floating in the darkness. Okay. Wednesday. After they hung up, he lay in bed and stared at the ceiling and thought about a woman who'd tested him in a wheelchair and was now testing herself to see if she could be the person he needed. About whether love was enough when it had to compete with empires and responsibilities and legacies. About whether two people who'd both lost so much had enough left to risk it all again. Wednesday would tell. Wednesday would be the moment when they'd discover if this was real or just a beautiful, impossible dream that would shatter under the weight of reality. Outside, the rain continued, and Ryan fell asleep, hoping, praying that sometimes broken people found each other just in time to become whole. Wednesday came with complications. Ryan's truck broke down on Route 50, transmission giving out at exactly the wrong moment. The repair cost $1,847, money he didn't have. He called his dispatcher, got a temporary loan against next month's pay, and felt the walls closing in. Victoria texted, "Still on for tonight?" He stared at his phone in the mechanic's waiting room, grease smell everywhere, fluorescent lights buzzing. His back ached. He'd slept in the cab 2 nights running. The $287 electricity bill was now $312 with late fees. Yeah, 6 p.m. When Victoria arrived, she wasn't alone. A man in an expensive suit stood beside her Mercedes, tall, silver-haired, radiating authority. "Ryan, this is Richard Hayes, my uncle." Victoria's voice was tight. "He insisted on meeting you." Richard's handshake was a test, too firm, measuring. "So, you're the truck driver?" "That's right." "My niece tells me you have a daughter, 8 years old." "Emma, yes." They sat in Ryan's apartment, Richard eyeing everything like he was calculating worth, the garage sale couch, the Target dishes, the drawings on the wall. "Victoria's had a difficult time with relationships," Richard said, not bothering with subtlety. "Men who want her money. I'm sure you understand my concern." "Uncle Richard," Victoria started. "It's fine," Ryan cut in. He turned to Richard. "You think I'm after her money? That I saw a rich woman and figured I hit the jackpot?" The thought crossed my mind. Ryan stood, walked to his kitchen, pulled out his bank statement, handed it to Richard. "That's my checking account. $834 after I paid for my truck repair today. That's my savings account, $12,100 that I've been putting away for 5 years for Emma's college fund. That's my credit card statement, for $200 in debt from when my wife was dying and insurance didn't cover everything." His voice was steady, cold. "You think I want Victoria's money? I don't want anything from her except honesty and her time. But you think money is the only thing that matters, that I couldn't possibly love your niece unless there was profit in it." Richard's expression didn't change. "Young man, I've built 3 companies from nothing. I know what desperation looks like, and I see it all over you." "Uncle, that's enough," Victoria said, standing. "You need to leave. Victoria, now." After Richard left, silence filled the apartment. Victoria stood by the window, arms wrapped around herself. "I'm sorry, he just showed up at my office, said he'd heard I was dating someone, insisted on meeting you." "Ah, he's protecting you," Ryan said quietly. "Can't blame him for that. But he had no right to... He thinks I'll hurt you, use you. Maybe he's right to worry." Victoria turned. "What? Look at us, Victoria. Really look." Ryan gestured around. "You drive a car worth more than I make in 3 years. You live in a world I can't even imagine. And I'm barely keeping my head above water. Maybe your uncle's right. Maybe this is crazy. You're pulling away. I'm being realistic." "No." Victoria crossed to him. "You're scared, just like me. We're both terrified this won't work, so we're looking for reasons to run." She took his hands. "But I don't want to run, Ryan. I want to stay. I want to figure this out. What if we can't? What if we can?" Emma's voice. "Daddy? Is Victoria here?" She peeked out from her room, rubbing sleep from her eyes. Must have been napping. When she saw Victoria, her face lit up. "You came back." Victoria knelt down. "Of course I did. I promised, didn't I? Daddy said maybe you wouldn't because you're important and busy and we're just—" Emma stopped, looking at Ryan. "Just what, baby?" Ryan's heart cracked. "Just us," Emma finished quietly. Victoria pulled Emma into a hug. Over his daughter's shoulder, she looked at Ryan with tears streaming down her face. And in that moment he saw it, the truth neither of them wanted to admit. They were both broken, both afraid, both convinced they weren't enough. "You're not just anything," Victoria whispered to Emma. "You and your daddy are the most real thing in my life." That night, after Emma was asleep, Victoria told Ryan about the board meeting scheduled for Friday, a vote on whether to sell Hayes Tech to a larger corporation for $180 million. "They want me to sell?" Ryan asked. "Some of them. They say I'm too young, too inexperienced, that the company's grown beyond my ability to manage." She laughed bitterly. "My own board wants me out." "What do you want?" "I want to keep it. My grandfather built this. I built this. But they're right about one thing. It's consuming me. I haven't had a real vacation in 6 years. I work 80-hour weeks. I'm always on my phone, always thinking about the next deal, the next problem." She looked at him. "And now I'm thinking about you, about Emma, about what it would be like to have a life that isn't just work." "You can have both." "Can I? Because right now it feels like I'm failing at everything. Failing at work because I'm distracted. Failing at this, us, because I can't give you the time you deserve." Ryan pulled her close. "Then maybe we both need to stop trying to be perfect. Stop trying to have all the answers. Just be here, right now. That's enough." They sat on his broken couch until midnight, talking about fears and futures and all the ways they were terrified of getting this wrong. When Victoria left, she kissed him at the door, long and deep and desperate. "Friday," she said, "after the board meeting, I'll come here. Whatever happens, I'll come here. I'll be waiting." But Friday brought disaster. Ryan's dispatcher called at 7 a.m., mandatory delivery run. Denver to LA, leaving at noon, 16 hours minimum. He'd miss Victoria. He called her, straight to voicemail, texted, "Emergency work, have to drive to LA, won't be back until Saturday morning, I'm so sorry." No response. At 11:47 a.m., Mrs. Chen knocked. "Your daughter is at school. Your phone has been ringing." She handed him Victoria's number on a piece of paper. "This woman called my phone looking for you. She sounds upset." Ryan called back. Victoria answered on the first ring. "Where are you?" "I told you. I have to—" "The board meeting is in 3 hours, Ryan. 3 hours where I have to defend my entire life's work, and you're not going to be here. I don't have a choice. If I don't take this run, I lose my job." Silence, then. "I understand." "Victoria, no, I do. I understand. Work comes first. It always does. For both of us." Her voice cracked. I thought maybe you'd find a way, like I was important enough to fight for. You are important. I have to go. Good luck with your delivery." She hung up. Ryan stood in his apartment, phone in hand, deadline approaching, and felt something break inside him. She was right. He was choosing work over her, just like she chose work over him when the client emergency happened. They were both trapped, both prisoners to responsibilities that wouldn't bend. Both losing each other one missed moment at a time. He drove to LA with a sick feeling in his gut, 16 hours of white lines and truck stops, and imagining Victoria at that board meeting alone, defending everything while he was 800 miles away. At 11:02 p.m., stopped at a rest area outside Barstow, he called her. No answer. Texted, "How did it go?" 3 a.m. "Please, talk to me." Saturday morning, 6:15 a.m., pulling into his apartment complex, exhausted and defeated. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Nothing. Mrs. Chen's door opened. She was here last night. Ryan's heart stopped. What? That Victoria woman. She came at 9 p.m. Waited outside your door for 2 hours. I invited her in for tea. She cried. Mrs. Chen's eyes were sad. She said to tell you she tried, that she really tried, but maybe some things aren't meant to work. Where did she go? Home, I suppose. She left this. A small package. Inside, Emma's drawing, the one of the three of them holding hands. On the back, Victoria's handwriting. I wanted to believe we could make this work. But you were right. We're from different worlds. Thank you for showing me what enough feels like, even if it wasn't enough for us. V. Ryan sat on his apartment steps as the sun came up, holding that drawing, and felt everything collapse. He'd lost her. Lost the first woman since Sarah, who made him feel alive. Lost her because neither of them knew how to bend their worlds enough to meet in the middle. Emma found him there at 7:30 a.m. Daddy, why are you sad? Victoria's not coming back, baby. Why not? Because Daddy messed up. Because sometimes love isn't enough when everything else gets in the way. Emma sat beside him, 8 years old and somehow ancient. Mommy used to say you're stubborn, that once you think something's true, you stop fighting. Emma, is Victoria worth fighting for? Ryan looked at his daughter, at her mother's green eyes, at the wisdom that shouldn't exist in someone so young. Yeah, sweetheart, she is. Then stop being stubborn and go fight. Ryan called Marcus. I need you to watch Emma, today, all day if necessary. What's going on? I'm going to do something either really brave or really stupid. Victoria lived in the Meridian Tower, 32nd floor, penthouse suite. Ryan had never been there, had never seen her world up close. The lobby was all marble and glass, doorman in a suit that cost more than Ryan's truck. I'm here to see Victoria Hayes. The doorman looked him up and down, jeans, work boots, flannel shirt. Is Ms. Hayes expecting you? No. But tell her Ryan Mitchell is here. Tell her I drove 16 hours back from L.A. and came straight here without sleeping. Tell her I'm not leaving until she talks to me. 5 minutes later, the elevator opened. Victoria stood there in yoga pants and an oversized sweatshirt, no makeup, eyes red from crying. You shouldn't be here, she said. Probably not. Can I come up? She didn't answer, just turned and walked back into the elevator. Ryan followed. The penthouse was everything he'd imagined and nothing like he'd expected. Yes, it was huge. Floor-to-ceiling windows showing all of San Francisco, furniture that belonged in magazines, kitchen bigger than his entire apartment. But it was also cold, empty, no photos, no personal touches, no life. Your uncle was right, Ryan said, about me being desperate. I am desperate, desperate to make rent. Desperate to give Emma everything she deserves, desperate to not fail at being her father. He turned to Victoria. But he was wrong about why I'm here. I'm not here because you're rich. I'm here because when Emma asked me if you were worth fighting for, I realized I'd stopped fighting. I'd given up before we even started. Ryan, the board meeting, how did it go? Victoria's face crumbled. They voted to sell 15-3. My own company, my grandfather's legacy. Gone. I'm sorry. I should have been there. You had work. I had work. That's the problem, isn't it? We're both so busy surviving that we don't know how to live. Ryan stepped closer. Then teach me. Teach me how to live instead of just survive. I don't know how. Then we learned together. Victoria laughed, but it was bitter. Look at this place, Ryan. Look at my life. This is what my grandfather's $143,000 became. This empty, soulless palace where I live alone and work until I can't see straight and test men in wheelchairs because I don't know how to trust anyone. She gestured to the windows. And you You live in a two-bedroom apartment with a broken couch and you eat peanut butter for dinner and you're somehow happier than I've ever been. How do we make that work? I don't know, but I know I'm not ready to give up on this, on us. What if it's not enough? Victoria's voice broke. What if we try and fail, and I lose you and Emma, and I'm back to being alone? What if we don't try and spend the rest of our lives wondering what if? They stood in that enormous penthouse with the city spread below them, two people from impossible worlds trying to find a bridge that maybe didn't exist. Ryan's phone rang. Mrs. Chen. He answered. Ryan, Emma is asking for her inhaler. She's having trouble breathing. I think it's an asthma attack. Everything else vanished. Call 911. I'm coming now. He ran for the elevator. Victoria grabbed her keys. I'm driving, it's faster. They made it to the apartment in 8 minutes, Victoria driving like she was racing time itself. Emma was on the couch, Mrs. Chen beside her, breathing labored and scared. Daddy! I'm here, baby, I'm right here. The ambulance arrived. EMTs loaded Emma onto a stretcher. Ryan climbed in the back, and Victoria grabbed his hand before the doors closed. I'm following you. I'm not leaving. At the hospital, they waited. Emma stabilized quickly. The attack was scary but manageable. But sitting in those hard plastic chairs, Victoria holding his hand while Emma slept in the hospital bed, Ryan felt something shift. I was so scared, Victoria whispered. I've never been that scared in my life. Not when my parents died. Not when David betrayed me. Not even during the board meeting. She looked at him. I was scared I'd lose her. Lose both of you. And I realized I can't keep living half a life. I can't keep pretending work is enough when it's not. When you two are what matters. Victoria, let me finish. She took a shaky breath. The board voted to sell Hayes Tech. And you know what? Maybe they're right. Maybe it's time. Because I don't want to be the CEO who works 80-hour weeks and dies alone in a penthouse. I want to be the woman who shows up, who fights, who stays even when it's complicated. She squeezed his hand. I want to be enough for you and Emma, if you'll let me try. Emma stirred, opened her eyes. Victoria, you're here. Of course I'm here, sweetheart. Where else would I be? Daddy said you might not come back. Victoria looked at Ryan, then back at Emma. I'm not going anywhere, I promise. If you and your daddy will have me, I'm staying. Emma smiled, weak but real. Does that mean you're going to be my new mommy? Emma, Ryan started. But Victoria was already answering. I could never replace your mommy. She was special and she loved you so much. But maybe I could be Victoria. Someone who loves you and your daddy and wants to be part of your family. Would that be okay? Emma nodded. Then, can Mr. Fluffington be in our family too? Absolutely, Mr. Fluffington is essential family. Ryan watched them. His daughter and this woman who'd tested him and found him true, who'd cried in a diner and knelt down for an 8-year-old, who'd driven like fire to save Emma and was now promising to stay even though everything was complicated and messy and impossible. Later, after Emma was released, after they'd driven back to the apartment, after Emma was asleep with Mr. Fluffington, Victoria and Ryan stood on his small balcony overlooking the parking lot. I sold the company, Victoria said quietly. Signed the papers this afternoon. $180 million. More money than I'll ever need. And you know what I realized? It didn't feel like losing something. It felt like gaining space to breathe. What will you do? I don't know. Maybe start something smaller. Something that doesn't consume me. Maybe work with non-profits. Maybe... She smiled. Maybe figure out what it's like to have a life outside work. She turned to him. And I want to do something else. Something I should have done weeks ago. What? Victoria pulled out her phone. Dialed. Uncle Richard, it's me. I need you to meet someone properly. Without the interrogation. Without the judgment. Pause. Because I love him. And if you can't accept that, then you're choosing to lose me. Another pause. Tomorrow. 2 p.m. Rosie's diner. She hung up. Ryan stared at her. You just told your uncle you love me. I did. We've known each other 3 weeks. I know. Victoria, say it back or don't. But I'm done pretending I don't feel what I feel. I'm done playing it safe. Life's too short, and I've wasted too much time already. Ryan pulled her close. I love you too. Probably have since you stood up from that wheelchair and I got mad at you. Definitely since you knelt down for Emma. Absolutely since you drove like a maniac to save her tonight. They kissed on his tiny balcony with the parking lot below and the sound of sirens in the distance, and it felt like coming home, like finding something neither of them knew they were searching for. Tomorrow, Victoria said, your uncle, our worlds colliding. Ready? With you? Yeah, I'm ready. Rosie's diner at 2 p.m. was busier than Ryan expected. Richard Hayes sat in the same booth where this whole story had started, where Victoria had sat in a wheelchair and asked an impossible question. Emma held Ryan's hand. Victoria held his other hand. A united front. Uncle Richard, you've met Ryan. This is Emma, his daughter, my... Victoria paused. My family. Richard stood, extended his hand to Emma. Hello, young lady. I hear you want to be an astronaut. Emma shook his hand solemnly. Yes, sir. I'm going to Mars someday. I believe you will. Richard sat back down, gestured for them to join. Ryan, I owe you an apology. I made assumptions about your character based on your bank account. That was wrong. You were protecting Victoria. I was, but Victoria doesn't need protecting from you. She needs... Richard stopped, looked at his niece with something like wonder. She needs exactly what you're giving her. I haven't seen her smile like this since Thomas was alive. Your grandfather? Ryan asked. My father, Richard confirmed. Thomas Hayes, stubborn Irish immigrant who broke his back for 40 years. Best man I ever knew. Victoria told me about him. Did she tell you he saved a man's life? 1987. Construction site accident. Worker named Mitchell, John Mitchell, was pinned under collapsed scaffolding. Thomas held that scaffolding up for 7 minutes until help arrived. Broke 3 ribs and damaged his back permanently. But he saved John's life. Richard pulled out an old photograph. John sent this to my father every Christmas for 30 years until he died. Look at the back. Ryan took the photo. A younger man with familiar eyes, his father's eyes. On the back, to Thomas Hayes. You gave me life. You gave me a son. Thank you, John Mitchell. The world tilted. Ryan looked at Victoria. Your grandfather saved your father's life, Victoria finished, tears streaming. I found out last week. After the board meeting, I was going through old family documents. Found the letters John sent Thomas. Found this photo. Your father wrote about you, his son Ryan, born in 1990, about how he was naming you after Thomas's son who died young. She was crying fully now. We were connected all along, our grandfathers, our families, and we found each other without knowing. Emma looked confused. What does this mean? Ryan knelt down. It means that a long time ago, Victoria's grandfather saved your grandfather's life. And if he hadn't done that, I wouldn't exist. You wouldn't exist. And we wouldn't be here right now. So, we're supposed to be together? Emma asked. Victoria knelt too, both of them eye level with Emma. I don't know if people are supposed to be together. But I know your daddy is the best man I've ever met, and I know you're the most amazing little girl, and I know I want to be part of your lives, if you'll let me. Emma looked at Ryan. Daddy, what do you think, baby girl? Should Victoria be part of our family? Emma threw her arms around Victoria's neck. Yes, 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 yes. Richard watched this, and something in his expression softened completely. Thomas would have loved this, loved knowing his sacrifice created this. He looked at Ryan. I judged you for being poor, but my father was poor his entire life, and he was richer in the ways that mattered than anyone I've known. I forgot that. Thank you for reminding me. They ate lunch at Rosie's diner, the four of them plus Richard. The waitress who'd witnessed Victoria's wheelchair test saw them and smiled. "Glad you came back," she told Ryan. "Glad you both did." After lunch, Victoria pulled Ryan aside while Emma showed Richard her drawings of Mars. "I've been thinking about what to do with the money from selling Hayes Tech. Victoria, you don't have to. I want to start a foundation, Thomas Hayes Foundation, scholarships for kids like Emma, kids whose parents work 3 jobs and still can't afford college, kids whose fathers drive trucks and sleep in cabs to save money." She took his hands. "And I want to start small, maybe with one truck driver who needs a better truck so he doesn't have to sleep in it, maybe with one little girl who needs winter boots. I can't accept charity. It's not charity. It's an investment in the man I love. In the future, I want us to build together." Victoria's voice was firm. "And before you argue, think about Emma. Think about what it would mean if you didn't have to work 60-hour weeks, if you could be at her school plays, if you could tuck her in every night, if you could breathe." Ryan looked across the diner at his daughter, showing Emma's drawings to a billionaire who was smiling like he'd forgotten how. At Victoria, who tested him and found him worthy. At the photograph of his father that connected them across decades. "Okay," he said quietly, "but on one condition. We build this together. Your money? Yes. But my knowledge of what people actually need. Your business sense and my street sense. Partnership." "Partnership," Victoria smiled. "I like that word." 6 months later, Emma's 9th birthday party filled Rosie's diner. Mrs. Chen was there, Marcus, Richard, a dozen of Emma's friends from school, and Victoria, wearing jeans and a simple sweater, cutting cake and laughing at Emma's jokes about astronauts. Ryan watched from the counter, coffee in hand, and felt Sarah's presence. Not sad, not haunting, just there, approving. "You did good, love," he could almost hear her say. "You found your enough, and you let yourself live." Victoria caught his eye across the diner and mouthed, "I love you more," he mouthed back. Emma blew out her candles. 9 bright flames. Her wish was probably about Mars or Mr. Fluffington getting a sibling. Or maybe, just maybe, about the family she had now, the father who'd fought through impossible odds, the woman who tested his heart and stayed, the life they were building together one messy, complicated, beautiful day at a time. The Thomas Hayes Foundation had launched 3 months ago, 20 scholarships funded, 12 families helped with emergency expenses, 1 truck driver who got a new truck and cried for an hour because he didn't have to sleep in the cab anymore. Victoria and Ryan weren't married, weren't even engaged yet. They were taking it slow, building something real, learning how to merge their worlds without losing themselves. But they were together, and that was enough. Emma opened her presents, books about space, a telescope from Victoria, new boots from Ryan that actually fit. The last gift was small, wrapped in silver paper. "This is from both of us," Victoria said, glancing at Ryan. Inside was a small charm, a silver truck next to a silver star. "The truck is Daddy's," Emma said, understanding immediately, "and the star is me." "The star is all of us," Ryan corrected. "Our family, our journey, where we've been and where we're going." Emma hugged them both. "This is the best birthday ever." Later, after the party, after Emma was asleep in her sunshine-yellow room, Ryan and Victoria sat on his balcony. He'd offered to move to somewhere bigger, nicer, paid for by her foundation money. But Victoria had said no. "This is where you and Emma built your life," she'd said, "where you survived and fought and loved. I'm not taking you away from that. I'm joining it." So she'd kept the penthouse for work meetings and official things, but most nights she was here. in the apartment with the broken couch and mismatched dishes and Emma's drawings on every wall. Because this was home, not the marble and glass and emptiness. This. What are you thinking? Victoria asked. That a year ago, I was barely hanging on, working myself to death, convinced I'd never love anyone again. Ryan pulled her close. And now I'm here, with you, with Emma healthy and happy, with enough, not just enough money, but enough joy, enough hope, enough life. Your grandfather would be proud, Victoria said. Mine too. They built this bridge across time, and we found our way across it, to each other. To each other. They sat there as the city lights came on, as sirens wailed their familiar song, as life hummed around them. Two people from impossible worlds who'd found a way to build something new, something neither expected but both desperately needed. And somewhere, maybe, Thomas Hayes and John Mitchell were watching, knowing that the sacrifice made decades ago on a construction site had rippled forward through time. That lives saved, created lives lived. That love, real love, was worth more than gold. Always had been, always would be. Daddy, Emma's voice from inside. Can Victoria read me a story? Victoria stood. Coming, sweetheart. As she went inside, Ryan stayed for one more moment, looking at the stars Emma wanted to reach, thinking about Sarah, about Thomas, about the impossible journey that had led him here. We made it, he whispered to the night. We actually made it. And in his pocket, the charm Emma had received earlier, the truck and the star, their family, their story, their enough. The test was over. The real life had begun, and it was more than either of them had ever dared to hope for.